Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Your Event. And I'm your host Sadia, and tonight we are at the Conrad Hotel in St James, where BRISLA, the British Sri Lankan Association, are gathering for their annual awards night, which will prove to be a very, very special night, all about building partnerships between the UK and Sri Lanka, with UK and foreign dignitaries alike all gathering together to talk about promoting better relationships. Joined by the illustrious chairman of the British Sri Lankan Association, Dr. Zima Siwadin, who has actually helped to bring all of these dignitaries together into one room, all to celebrate the great achievements that Sri Lanka has already accomplished, and to inshallah further the achievements of Sri Lanka through continuous trade and negotiations. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Zima Siwadin. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having us and being here, Sadia.
Thank you for just giving us a few moments. I know you're very busy and you're in the middle of all of your hosting, but you've taken a few minutes out for Islam channels and we appreciate that. Please tell us about tonight's event.
This is the BRISLA Awards. This is our fourth year since our foundation in 2014. We're really privileged to have all our special guests here who are representing all different communities. BRISLA, of course, is organisation which has been formed to bring different communities together between the UK and Sri Lanka. What we're trying to do is ensure that trade, investment, education and sustainability is promoted in a more quieter, behind-the-scenes manner.
We take it as a privilege to be involved with BRISLA. We support them in what they do, and we are glad for the opportunity to be able to support them, recognizing the fact that they are striving to do for Sri Lanka what is most needed in encouraging the plurality, the diversity, the opportunity and the sustainability.
What's your connection to the BRISLA Award and Sri Lanka in general?
I was very impressed by BRISLA when I found out what you all were doing and what they were doing, and I was at the Service for Peace, which was held 5 months ago now, and I made a speech there in commemoration of the people who sacrificed their lives, and it's a truly remarkable thing to bring the community together.
And what are your motivational factors for continuing and staying in politics for as long, because it can be quite draining, of course?
Well, it's how you measure yourself and ask yourself what is it that you want to do in Parliament. Some people want to go up and be Prime Minister, if that's possible. Some people want glory. Some people want to leave after political service where they have helped other people or saved lives. And in the European Parliament, I was very privileged to have spent 19 years on the Overseas Development Committee, actually saving lives.
So for me, this evening is lovely to be at an event which celebrates diversity and friendship, and which shows that actually different religious traditions can very genuinely work together and celebrate together the things they have in common, while also, of course, recognizing the things that differ, that they respect in each other, but they do not share.
Your attendance here at the BRISLA Awards, what is the significance of your attendance here as Al Rayan Bank, and why do you feel it's important to support events such as the BRISLA Awards?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, Al Rayan Bank, as you know, is the oldest and largest Islamic bank in the UK. And although we have about 85,000 customers, 1/3 of them are non-Muslim. And we get customers from all over the world. So we mainly kind of service customers living in the UK, but also British expats all over the world. And we do receive a significant number of customers from the Middle East and Far East, including Sri Lanka as well. And this type of event is in line with our kind of ethical values that we propose as well. And it's also showing a bit of loyalty back to a part of our customer base.
Let's have a quick word with Lord Sheikh about why he's here and why he's supporting the BRISLA event and what connection it has and what serves him, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much for asking me to come and talk here. And I am particularly interested in promoting more trade between UK and Sri Lanka.
I am joined by one such person, the High Commissioner for Sri Lanka, Her Excellency Manisha Gunasekera. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Hi, welcome and thank you for coming and just joining us for a few moments. I know we've pulled you away from dinner, so we won't keep you long, but we really appreciate your time. So you're here at the BRISLA Awards, and you're here to obviously talk about the amazing work that's been going on and your support for BRISLA. Give us a few words to our audience who are watching about why we should all be getting behind BRISLA and more importantly behind Sri Lanka.
Yes, BRISLA as the British Sri Lankan community, British Sri Lankan Association, Zima and his team has been doing a wonderful job. I think they are a very dynamic group of young people. They are also, some of them are second generation Sri Lankans here, and a very diverse group because Sri Lanka is a very multi-ethnic, multicultural country, and all denominations, all cultures, all religions are represented here within BRISLA. And they do a wonderful job as British Sri Lankans. But they also try very hard to, I think, celebrate the diversity that they're part of, but also mainstream that diversity to really connect the British and the Sri Lankan and make that bridge and to really reflect the rich resource that it is. As a High Commissioner for Sri Lanka, I think the relationship that Sri Lanka has with the UK is very special, and because of historical relations, our relationship goes back centuries. And here the greatest strength and resource that we have is the British Sri Lankan community that is present here today, along with a lot of British nationals.
So what are your hopes for the future for BRISLA and the outcomes of tonight's event?
And one of the focuses now, moving forward, is to look at youth employability. We want to look after the young in the future. But one of the most important things in my mind at the moment, and we're doing it more quietly for the last 4 or 5 years, is to look after the environment. The sustainability is very critical. We want to help support businesses from UK going to Sri Lanka.
So I will urge perhaps business people in UK to think about doing business in Sri Lanka. They're opening a marvelous port in Colombo. They're investing a lot of money, which will also present great opportunities. And also admire the achievement of the Sri Lankan diaspora here.
Very, very impassioned speech, and we hope, inshallah, that you continue to enjoy tonight's event and that the words that you speak actually go further in terms of pushing the promotional message that you have for Sri Lanka, and like you said, the trade that we want to see happen, which is where that communication and that getting to know one another and that cohesion, that humanitarian cohesion can happen. And what are your hopes for the improvement and empowerment of Sri Lanka as a whole? In your role, what do you hope to achieve?
Yeah, well, as a High Commissioner here, my mandate is, of course, to elevate and further strengthen bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and the United Kingdom. So a huge component is actually working with the British government, engaging the British government, both houses of parliament, British interlocutors.
Sri Lanka is incredibly resilient. It is also a repository of such a lot of wealth in various different ways, from the minerals to the wildlife to the literacy to the inclusiveness to the diversity. It has got it all.
I'm humbled and honored to be here today in this historic setting next to Westminster and Buckingham Palace with such an inspiring group of people. The British Sri Lankan community has flourished in every field of human endeavor: economics, business, politics, culture, medicine, and finance, acquiring such a strong voice. The Sri Lankan people have not forgotten their cultural values whilst flourishing in the UK. On the contrary, their culture has become part of British life, British Sri Lankans in the UK form a bridge of influence that now needs to be utilised. The greatest outcome in all that we do together is the deep, meaningful connection we make with people of diverse opinions and outlooks. It is important to highlight this following the recent tragedy in Sri Lanka.
In the 80s, we had a war in the north, a terrorist war in the north, and we had an insurrection simultaneously in the south, making it one of the most bloodiest places on earth at the time. Then came a 30-year war of terrorism and a tsunami with biblical proportions in between, thereby endorsing the international community's faith and confidence in Sri Lanka's plurality and in Sri Lanka's security. And what is remarkable is that despite the horrific events of April, Lonely Planet have chosen to reaffirm their belief and their rating of Sri Lanka as the #1 tourist destination in the world.
Sri Lanka is home to amazing wildlife and natural beauty. The blue whale and the elephant are not only important symbols in relation to tourism, but they also represent some of Sri Lanka's most important natural resources, essential for the community to develop and thrive with economic prosperity.
But I believe what is most apt, what is most relevant, is the term resilient. Resilient through all that terrorism, politics, and nature have thrown at it.
We now need to be flexible, nimble, and agile in a cohesive way to tackle obstacles to trade. We need to till the soil to create the fertile ground for this to take place. The goal of utmost importance to us at BRISLA, which we have emphasized many times before, is to bring unity in diversity of communities.
Sri Lanka is a small economy and a relatively small country, but enjoying a very strategic location in the Indian Ocean. The truth is that this special relationship is much broader and deeper and is not just confined to one sector, such as the economy, but is all-encompassing. It's on the road to prosperity, and with predictability of policy, we can get there. There is a very positive narrative on Sri Lanka, which needs to be heard. Just 3 days ago, in a historic step, the government inaugurated Sri Lanka's third international airport, the Jaffna International Airport in the north of the country, which would provide greater connectivity for Sri Lanka with India, especially with the fast-growing southern Indian states. Now, we already have an FTA with India. For a very long time, Sri Lanka had the highest number of flights into India, but this is another step in our tremendous integration with the fast-growing southern Indian states of India. And just yesterday, the Financial Action Task Force removed Sri Lanka from the grey list, which should make us much more competitive in terms of our financial services and the capital market.
Thankfully, international investors and respected Sri Lankan corporates have recognized this potential and transformed what was previously a dreamy South Asian backwater into a metropolis on the cusp of exponential development.
The country is indeed doing better and better.
BRISLA would like to thank the many people who wrote in great detail with the names and nominees of these awards after all the local, national and international press and TV coverage. The winners' nominations were proposed and collected over a period of 9 months following all that media coverage this year. With so much variety and such a high level of innovation, the judges have again found it especially difficult with their decisions this year, so I suggest you look to the stage for some surprises when the winners are announced. So let's crack on with the potential surprises and our first award of the evening, which is the Outstanding Achievement in the Legal Field. So the winner of the 2019 BRISLA Outstanding Achievement in the Legal Field is Harendra de Silva, QC. Thank you. Congratulations. Next, the 2019 Outstanding Achievement in Academia Award. This will be presented by Her Royal Highness Princess Katarina of Yugoslavia. Our winner is a human rights barrister based in London and a leading expert on the law relating to human trafficking to the UN, the Council of Europe, and the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe. With 22 years at the bar, she's recognised as a leader in her field. In 2017, she was appointed Senior Legal Advisor to our Parliament's CPA UK Modern Slavery Project. So, would you give a nice welcome to the winner of the 2019 Outstanding Achievement in Academia Award, Professor Parosha Chandran. Our next award is Excellence in Community Development 2019. He was instrumental in reforming the British Tamil Football League, serving as a president for 6 years between 2009 and 2015. He started the Union Sports Club, and over the past 25 years, he's trained young children every single Sunday, and that continues to this day too. So, the winner of the Excellence in Community Development 2019 is Mr. Ambalavanar Sathianathan. He's known as Sathi. Next award is Excellence in Outstanding Leadership Award 2019. The winner of the 2019 Excellence in Outstanding Leadership Award has over 23 years of service in the Sri Lankan Foreign Service. She's one of the very few career diplomats to be appointed as Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to the UK. Her last assignment was as Sri Lanka's ambassador to South Korea. One of her most memorable moments was when she received a state visit from the Sri Lankan president to South Korea. She's also led Sri Lankan delegations at the Human Rights Council in 2012. Great leaders are able to deal with uncertainties. During the tragic events that occurred on Easter Sunday this year, we've already heard about, tonight's award winner showed her authentic and ethical leadership skills by responding to the crisis calmly and with a balanced viewpoint to bring the communities all closer together. She's appeared on TV and organised key events in the community in the UK and to allay any fears and contribute to BRISLA's objective. She's basically a role model for all of us to follow. So the winner of the 2019 Excellence in Outstanding Leadership Award, we've heard from her already, the High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to the UK, Her Excellency Manisha Gunasekera. Okay.
The BRISLA team for its celebration of the talent and achievements of the British Sri Lankan community, for its upholding of the ideals of inclusivity, and for building and empowering diverse communities in the UK.
Congratulations, Your Excellency. Our next award is the Lifetime Achievement Award 2019. The award will be presented by a man who teaches biochemistry and biomedical sciences at Oxford. He's also an Anglican priest in the parish of Headington Quarry, Oxford. And surprisingly, will you welcome the Reverend Professor Rob Gilbert? The Lifetime Achievement Award winner has a unique distinction of being a Sri Lankan who has created history. He revolutionised the face of British politics by becoming the first non-white, the first Asian, and the first Sri Lankan-born Conservative MP when in 1992 he was elected as an MP. He was also the first and is still the only Sri Lankan-born and the first Asian-born member of the European Parliament. I think he still is. And I should point out that he was re-elected for 4 consecutive terms, which is still a record, over 20 years with successive and increased majorities. He's the only Sri Lankan to be elected to sit on 2 overseas parliaments ever. He has the singular honour of being awarded the title of Vishwa Kirithi Sri Lanka Abhimani. He's also an honorary ambassador at large for both the UK and Sri Lanka. So the winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award, Niranjan Deva DL. Also, congratulations. Now it's the turn of the outstanding friends of the British Sri Lankan community. He's been honoured by the presentation of several personal awards which have been given to him for his achievements, his leadership, his business and his community work, and he was awarded an honorary doctorate for his humanitarian work too. Elevated to the House of Lords in 2006, he's an active peer and he speaks regularly in the House. So would you give a spontaneous welcome to the winner of the Outstanding Friends of the British Sri Lankan Community, the Lord Sheikh.
This is a great country. And apart from what Nerd just said, this is a land of opportunity. And I say this because my own family was expelled from Uganda. We came here penniless. General Amin took everything from us except what we have here. With our determination, we have done well. And I think if you are hardworking, if you're innovative, sky is indeed the limit.
Thank you, Lord Sheikh. That now concludes the BRISLA Awards 2019. Thank you, Jason. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate all of our nominees. It really is a great accolade and great achievement just to be nominated. I'd like to wish all the nominees and winners continued success in their fields. For his closing remarks, give a nice round of applause as he comes to the stage. The Chairman of BRISLA.
The evening has really flown by. Thank you all for attending and supporting our important gathering, the BRISLA Awards. One of the highlights of the event for me was seeing the jubilant faces of our well-deserved winners collecting their awards. My congratulations to everyone who was nominated and to our successful winners. I would also like to thank you all immensely, as without your support, we could not host such an evening. Nothing should end here. Our hopes, our aims, and our journey must continue. So let's continue to move forward into the future with hope and excitement. Thank you.
Mashallah, what an absolutely fantastic evening this has been. Lots and lots of great promises being made and resolutions towards building a stronger UK and Sri Lankan government partnership, but also different businesses and different companies' interests both in Sri Lanka and the UK, making that commitment to build stronger relationships, and hopefully we will see a stronger Sri Lanka emerging from that future. I hope you've had a good evening with us. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.